welcome to Podcast Fandom, the official podcast for ProjectFandom.com. I'm your host, Nina.
I'm Donald.
And I'm Kaylee.
And we are back to discuss Alice in Borderland Season 2. I almost said Season 1. Season 2, Episodes 5 and 6. We are in the home stretch. The penultimate podcast of the season, because after this, it's just the last 2 episodes. I feel like this show is definitely designed for more seasons. Mm-hmm. And it is a webtoon, right?
It's a comic.
Is it a
manga?
Manga?
Yeah.
So, I don't know how much is out there. Like, I don't know if it's like a completed
And people said
manga.
it's different.
But I mean, is it complete? Is it
I don't know.
done? Well, I don't know what's going. Like, I don't have answers. Like, I am no closer to understanding why this shit is happening. But I feel confident in that it's not going to get tied up in 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck is going on, right? Mm-hmm. So what did you guys think of these episodes?
Can't go first.
Mm-hmm.
I love them. Remember, last time I was like, I think these 2 are my favorite episodes.
Yes.
Episode 6 is my favorite episode.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
Because of Chishiya.
Because of him?
Yeah!
I just showed her a picture of him, the actor.
Is it the one with his natural hair?
Yeah, I'll put it in the group chat.
I saw one earlier.
He looks so different.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like he's like 10.
Let me see the picture again. He looks like, I want to see it again before I say it.
Nikki?
From
Enhypen. I see
and
it.
Nikki's Japanese, so...
Yeah, he is.
And we're not being racist.
No. He looks like another Japanese boy we know named Nikki in a K-pop group called Enhypen. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, what about you, Donnie?
I really like both of these episodes as well. It just everything around. I really liked the Queen of Hearts?
Yes.
I remember before I watched the episode myself, I remember hearing you say that you're like, I really like her, and I'm like,
oh wait, no, she wasn't. Not Hearts. It was Spades, right?
Yeah, because it wasn't a Hearts game.
It was an endurance game.
Yeah.
So it was Spades. I really like. I thought she's just she was gorgeous.
I liked her too.
Yeah, she was badass too.
Daddy doesn't watch it in Japanese like we do. He watches it in English, right?
Because he's corny.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like her voice. She has a really nice voice. The actress.
Yeah, I came into the room when Mommy was watching it, and that's
her natural voice.
Yeah.
So, is that it? Before I go, go ahead.
No, just like everything, like seeing the world. Just because I think we got every character in these 2 episodes, which was different than I think the other episodes we have watched.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Even the one girl, it was a weird, the transgendered girl.
Trina.
They like even it was kind of a dumb scene, but they just showed her like walking the street. But they still showed like all of our main characters.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, there was more with Quina. She went to her hospital room,
or her
mom's hospital room.
Oh, that's right.
And that surprised me because, like, I think the last podcast we floated the theory based on, like, the fireworks and seeing... Oh, wait, was that in this podcast? Was that in these episodes? Maybe... Did Anne see the mountain in these episodes?
Yes.
Okay. So this is... I'm adding that, but I think I'm adding that to what I'm saying, but before, based on the fact that there was the fireworks and what the girl said about not remembering, like, to everybody else, it's like, it's always, wait, okay, God, I'm not making any sense. Okay. As far as we've seen with most people that we've seen come here, which I really think is just Arisu and his friends, right? They never showed us what it was like for somebody to be, except the girl. No?
I don't know what you're talking about yet.
Like how it's been, like what it was like for them
ended,
before
like,
they got there, like the transition. So for them, they went in a bathroom stall and everything outside got quiet, and they ran outside and it was okay. So
like right as it happened with the girl in season 1 too that they were with. She was in the shower. The girl that they were with in season 1.
Oh, the core TV guys call her French Tips. The girl who died with the other friend. Okay. All right. So my point is that for us, it was just like an instantaneous, like the world around them changed. But the girl from last week, she implied that, because she says, I remembered. So it's like there's something that happened. Exactly.
But they never told us. Like,
right.
They just kind of like continue down their story, but they never asked her about it, which is weird.
So
I think that
she
popping off, so.
she got lasered in the chin, so she couldn't finish.
No, she got shot in the head.
Are
we talking about the girl who remembered?
Yes.
She did not get lasered. She got shot because the guy showed up with the guns and he killed all of them.
Are you sure?
Yes, because it happened through the window. I
thought it happened. No. The thing. Okay, well, whatever.
My memory is better than yours.
Okay, shut up. So my point is that I think we talked about this last time. For me, it feels like what you're supposed to think is like everything around them changed, right?
Right.
As opposed to like Squid Game, where they were drugged and taken to another place and they have no idea like where they are. If that is the case, it's wild to me that the level of detail to go find her mother's hospital room, have that photo there, have it look like it's weathered and time has passed. Like, that's so crazy to me.
I don't think they like deliberately set that up. Whatever it is, I think the world is still kind of the same. Like,
I don't know, because
right? Like, how though?
I don't know,
because I brought it up. Like the fact that at the beginning of this season, they're downtown and there's nothing's overgrown or anything like that. They go out into the woods, and then in these episodes, our main guy comes back to the town. Exactly, they show us the downtown with the big monitor screen into downtown, like Times Square, and the shit's overgrown. Shibuya Cross. Like that doesn't happen in just a couple days.
I'm wondering.
And they brought up the fact that time works different there.
I still think they're in the real world. I just think, a large amount of time has passed.
So, you know what?
And their memories were messed with, so they just remember it as no time being passed.
Okay, so that's kind of like Wayward Pines, Donnie.
Right.
Like where something actually happened to them. Time passed. They were taken out.
I tried saying this in the last podcast, but I don't think you guys could tell that's what I was trying to say.
Okay. And then they're just placed back in, and they don't know. Like, it could be like 50 years in the future, and they have no idea.
Right.
This is a common trope in a lot of visual novels, Japanese visual novels.
Oh, really?
I've played.
But there's no place on Earth that has mountains like that, though. I don't like.
But
that's it.
Now. What I was gonna
when
say,
I say time has passed, I mean like thousands of years.
Oh, okay, like Dr. Stone shit. Yeah.
So
that's like
who knows?
Wayward Pines. Spoiler. Sorry, Wayward Pines is like that. And that still, by the way, can I just say that? Can you guys still hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Daddy sounds really far away.
Yeah. Where'd you go?
I'm right next to your mic.
Okay. Just side note, the way thinking about Wayward Pines makes me feel like it still fucks with me. Because that show was a mind fuck. Like a complete mind fuck. Like just complete. Like you said, like you're watching something and you think it's taking place like now and this guy is in this town and they won't let him leave and it's like this modern subdivision and you know that he got like in a car accident or something and they brought him here. But then you're like, why is this so weird? And then as it turns out, there was that car accident and he was like frozen and it, like hundreds of years have passed. So he doesn't know that like the outside world is completely different and all that. And that, I don't know. It's just something about that really fucks with me. When a story does that, it just It feels terrible. It's just like a fucked up thing.
It's funny because, like, I say it's common, and I know a lot of examples of Japanese media that has done that, but it also still catches me by surprise every time. Like, they still manage to pull it off. And I'm like,
so unsettling. It's just but yeah, so the fact that they did that, like, that's what I mean. Like, it's hard for me to think that this isn't, that they took them someplace else, because it's clearly the world, like the roads and stuff. But again, that level of detail, to have that picture with her mother, and like, how would you even think that she would go back there? Like, so it's like they must not have set it up. Like, this must be real. Mm-hmm. So it must be a time thing.
Or they're in some kind of virtual reality.
They're in space.
They got these helmets on. Everyone's in chambers.
You think they're in space, Donnie?
That's my. It's either, like you said, the Wayward Pines thing, where they're in the future, or they're in space. It's one of the two things.
Or a virtual reality, not necessarily space. Technically, we're always in space, but
true.
Well, if they're virtual reality, then they're not really dying.
Yeah, but like I said, that has also happened in tropes.
Yeah, I mean, because
you get a huge cast of characters and they die off, and then at the end you find out they're not actually dead.
Well, it's just weird to me. If it's that type of thing, that could work too, because it's interesting to me that this season they seem to be focusing a lot on what this experience means. Like, how has it changed, like, the type of person you are, and maybe how you would be different if you do go back to your life, right? So, like, Arisu was just kind of, like, wasting his life away, and
what if at the end we find out this is really just, like, some program that his family signed him up for?
I told you from the first season. I was like, I bet you they were like, I'm gonna send your ass.
Somebody came to them and said, we'll give you some money if you just funded this shit.
But that's, like, terrible, though, because, like,
it's a lot of traumatic
shit that's happening. It's terrible.
He watched his friends die.
Yeah,
and then he goes back to the real world. They start laughing. He's like, oh.
Yeah, no. That's
you need therapy.
And they're showing them a lot, his two friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This season. Yeah. All right, you ready to talk about these episodes?
Yep.
Yeah. I feel like I had something more to say, but I don't remember.
Sorry.
I do want to say, we got to see my favorite aesthetic in these episodes.
Yes.
When I think it was when Queena was, like, looking for the hospital, it showed, like, a shot of the town, and it's just, like, cityscape, but, like, overgrown.
Yeah.
With trees and plant life everywhere. I love, love, love that.
What is that called?
I don't know. It probably has a name, but I don't know it.
Yeah. It's like a urban dystopian, maybe. I don't know. All right. So, I'm going to be honest with you guys. In my notes for episode 5, it begins with the Goonies speaking with Arusu. I don't know what the fuck they talked about. I meant to go back and write it down, you guys, and I didn't. I'm so sorry.
I'm sure it was probably just something about catching the king.
All right, but let's talk about, because that's eventually what they end up doing, right? Okay, let's talk about this new girl. What's her name?
Did we ever get her name? I remember trying to listen out for it, but I don't think we ever got her name. But I really like her. I'm
going to go to IMDb and see if I can find it. But we get her backstory, which I thought was interesting, because it starts with her being in school and these boys wanting to hang out with her and her friends. And she seemingly, like, at first kind of like, yeah, sure, like, going along with it. But as it turns out, she's a bitch.
She tells them she has to go visit her. It's like the anniversary of her mom's death.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, sorry. But she's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
She was terrible.
Yeah. Her name is Akane.
Oh, that's right.
Akane.
Yeah, they might have said it in the flashback.
Heiya?
Let me see.
Heiya. Heiya. Heiya? Heiya.
Let me see. Oh.
Heiya.
Heiya.
Heiya. So, Akane, right. So, she is a bit of a bitch. Like you said, it's the anniversary of her mom's death. And then, like, when she's talking to her friends, she readily admits taking someone's boyfriend. Like, cheating with somebody's boyfriend. I was like, see, that's why they took your ass.
But so because of her backstory, she was in, what, high school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you see she notices the fireworks when they're outside. Are they at Shibuya Crossing?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the same place Arisu and his friends were at.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was at the same time.
Right.
But they were in the same place.
I
wonder if... Do you think everyone was, like, at Shibuya Crossing when it happened?
Like,
even though it was at different times?
One of you were telling me that we saw the girl in the shower in
yeah,
season
but we
1.
don't know. Like, maybe that was a building in Shibuya
Right.
Crossing.
I don't know.
I feel like it showed, like, a shot of the outside, too, but I don't know.
I might have to go back for that. Okay, I don't remember how she got into the game.
It didn't show us, like...
It didn't show us.
Okay,
Yeah.
but when
She
gets...
was just in a field.
She goes into, like, this stadium. It's like a sports stadium, and the name of the game is Boiling Death. I don't remember what the card and the number was, but it was Boiling Death, and it was just survive if you're still standing when the building falls.
Yeah, it was a stadium.
So it was just run for your life.
Right.
Very sure.
And this is the same spot, I think, later on, I think in the next episode that...
Where they go in and find the
Right,
sauna?
he goes,
Yes,
this
it's
is
the
the hot
same.
spring.
Yeah,
that's what I thought,
recognized it.
too.
I recognized it right away. I was like, what?
I was really
I
expecting
would not get in that water.
Like, they didn't see any dead bodies in there, but I'm like, they must have still been in there.
Like, let me tell you something. You don't fuck with water. Like, when you are in a dangerous emergency situation, you got to be very, very careful with water. Water will end your fucking life. The bad water, the wrong water, shitting water. Like, why are you when they were like, oh, we can take a bath? And I honestly thought they're only doing this so they can have sex. But they ain't got no soap. So still, that's nasty.
Soaking hot water.
So she ends up running.
Oh, wait, go back.
No. What?
No, sorry, Oh, we haven't watched episode 7 yet.
No.
Sorry, I was gonna read it. It starts with Shibuya Crossing, so I'm like, oh.
So she, her leg gets impaled.
Yeah,
Something.
with a pipe, falling debris.
And she, like, lifts her leg out of it. I was like, you a G, cause
She really wanted to live.
I might have died right there with my leg
Giving
in
up.
that thing.
She, like, I was impressed that she was able to do it and, like, without screaming at first. She didn't really make any noise until after it was out.
Yeah.
But yet the other guy smashes his hand and dies.
Look, we'll talk about that. Shut up. Oh, no, we already talked about that.
Yeah.
I told you, there's, like, arteries and shit in your wrist.
There's arteries and shit in your leg.
I know, but, like, there's, like, main ones. Like,
There's main ones in your leg.
right, which is why people get stabbed in their thigh. Like, we've seen so many shows where somebody gets stabbed in their thigh on purpose because they're trying to hit that artery. That, you know what I mean? So, shut up.
But also, he sat there losing blood. I'm assuming maybe she, like, used her shirt or something to stop the bleeding.
She did, because they showed her when she got up and she was, like, hobbling. So she ends up having to have sex with this doctor, which I'm so glad they didn't show any of this, because we know she's a high school student, and she's like, okay, whatever, so that he can treat and amputate her leg. Right. Because men ain't shit, even in Borderland or whatever. So, Akane
But I just like that she knows what to do to survive. Even though it's a horrible thing, but she's doing what it is that she needs to do to survive.
I get the feeling that was her before she got in there.
Yeah, she seemed used to it.
Yeah.
So Akane and Aguni and Arisu.
All of their names start with A.
Oh my god! Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just our headphones.
All right, because
It's kind of going in and out.
yeah, it is, and it's annoying. Nico, go away. They try to ambush the Gun Devil, because that's what I call him. And
I caught myself thinking of him as the Gun Devil when I was watching the episodes, and
that's what he is.
I can't believe she's done this to me.
So, Homegirl's in a tree with, like, a crossbow, and Arisu has a shotgun, but it's like, who told, like...
You don't know how to use it.
It was just like, it was, they had a plan, like that was the whole, at the beginning, they were talking about the plan of how to get this guy. Mm-hmm. And that was like, oh, we gotta get him to this ledge at this cliff, and I don't know what their fucking plan was to get him to fall off the cliff.
All I know is that Arisu cannot hold or shoot a fucking
I don't know
shotgun.
how his arm didn't fall off.
It was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. To the point where he ends up falling off a cliff.
There was a point where he fired it and he fell backwards,
Yes.
wasn't there?
Yes. And got up and fired it again, and and he fell off a fucking cliff when that guy started shooting at him. And they put some fear in this guy, at least, because after he like sprays bullets at Aguni and Akane, and they go rolling down this fucking she did it on purpose, right? Mm-hmm. To get them away.
Right.
And Aguni hits this tree and like catches her, like breaks her fall.
Unintentionally, he's passed out.
But like, does he die?
No.
Are you sure?
I don't know. Me and Mommy both
think he's dead.
The way they ended that with her giving
With her kissing him, and he was not moving at all.
I don't know. I thought he was asleep and she was just leaving.
No, I think he's dead.
I don't think she would just leave him like that. Because he taught her, she said he taught her everything.
This is like...
This moment where I think he would need help.
But wait, how much time has passed? Because she wasn't at the beach. How'd they get so close and trustworthy since the end of season 2? I mean, 1. There's a thunderstorm outside.
And Nico doesn't like thunder.
So, sorry, that's our dog growling because there was just some thunder. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I think she just got really attached to him. Because like maybe he was like the first person to show her
the guy to help her without wanting anything in return.
Yeah. Because we saw he even like turned her down when she tried to come on to him.
That's right.
But I was gonna say this doesn't happen often, but I like this trope where I've seen it in anime before, where there's like a girl, she meets this guy, and he's like real tough and knows a lot of like, I don't know, hunting skills or whatever, and he teaches her everything he knows to the point where she becomes just as good, if not better than him at what he does, and then he dies and she's left by herself. Yeah. That's happened like at least 2 other times I can think of, and I eat it up every time. I love it.
Because she does. She takes off at the end with her weapons and
so that's why a part of me was kind of hoping he would die, because I was like, it fit the trope so perfectly.
So at the end of it, Arisu wakes up in the morning because it was nighttime when all this shit went down,
right?
And Daddy was like, how is he not dead?
Like
even if you survived the water, you're like unconscious when you went in that water. How did you not just drown? And then she ends up leaving homeboy, like I said, Aguni. She kisses him. I think he's dead.
And that's the last we see of her.
Yeah.
And him.
Well, not necessarily. Oh, no, yeah. Is this the episode where you see everybody and they like, it's the end of the next one. Where they, right? Where they kind of make a vow to win and to go back home. Like, you see everybody's resolve is strengthened. And so when we get a shot, she's included in that little montage. So I think that was their way of saying, okay, she's a player now. Like somebody, we'll see
main
again.
Character now.
Yeah, like she's somebody we'll see with our group eventually,
yeah.
I think.
I mean, I like how they just suddenly made her a main character. She's like introduced in like one episode and we get her whole backstory. Oh, the sound just cut out.
Okay. Oh my god, this is so frustrating.
My headphone jack isn't great on that microphone.
I see. So then we get like little snippets because again they're doing this thing where you spend like the bulk of the episode in one place, but then when that story kind of comes to an end, the last half of the episode, the last 15-20 minutes is somewhere else. Usagi finds a little boy
with a girl
in
a house.
Why does she take the little boy?
Because his visa's running low.
Right, it was just like he had to play a game day.
Go sit. He had to play a game that day? Wait, why is there a fucking child here?
I don't know. They don't volunteer to go there. It just happened.
Okay, but why is there a
parent? It's the first child we've seen.
It is. He was with his parents.
So does that imply that people being taken is a situational thing?
Probably. I don't know, because that girl would have been with her friends.
If that's when she was taken, right? Because I feel... Well, yeah, it had to have been because she saw the fireworks. Okay,
Or maybe she was with her friends and they were separated.
Oh my god, I have Usagi finds a little boy, and then I have Arisu finds, but I don't remember what he finds.
He finds her.
Well, no, he's looking for her.
He's looking for her. He goes into that.
Oh, he finds it. He finds the car of the dead body.
Yeah.
He's just back in the city.
Hush your face. And then Anne finds a mountain, and I'm like,
I want to point out, you guys thought that from that, what was it, the video projector, the film?
Yes.
The guy,
you thought that was Anne before she joined the beach, but
it's after.
I thought
it is after.
And I don't even remember if I said it or not, but I remember thinking to myself, I don't think that's from before. I think it's after.
I remember when we were talking about it, like the look on your face, you look skeptical. I didn't know, and I just assumed, again, because it just felt like so much, like how much time could have realistically passed, because they haven't really told us. But then when we see her this week, I was like, oh, that must have been, with her in the video, that must have been after the beach.
I just find it interesting that out of those leaders at the beach, like some of them are actually like in charge of these games and stuff like that, and then some are just two of them were.
Oh yeah, they were in,
and the other ones weren't even like.
Chishiya was an executive, and I totally forgot he was an executive at the beach until I watched a reaction to the episode.
Was he?
Yeah, he was. I was watching your boy Roshi react to them.
Oh, that's right.
And then like that's how he was at the beach. He was him and Queena. Queena wasn't an executive, but he was, and I was like, wow, he was an executive.
I'm watching the scene with her running out of this stadium, and like when she first started running, she was still holding her bag, and I was like, girl,
she let it go eventually. I like how she was the first one to start running.
Yes. Okay, so this mountain.
That's probably why she survived.
Shut up.
Sorry.
This mountain. I don't know shit about geography. But like, she was near a city, she walked some, she went to the woods, she slept in the woods, she climbed up high, she sees this vast expanse of mountain range, right? Mm-hmm. This one distinct mountain. Is that Mount Fuji?
No.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
I just know, I don't know where Mount Fuji is in Japan.
Okay.
But
am I supposed to know what that mountain is because of the way it looks? Because you know how like there's photos of like Mount Hood and Mount Rainier and Mount...
Probably not.
Okay.
I want to say, I think...
Because there is a curse in Jujutsu Kaisen, and his head looks like a volcano top. And I feel like somebody was jokingly calling him Mount Fuji, and like the top of it is like...
Is a mountain.
It's a mountain, but it's snow-capped.
Yeah.
So that's like the first thing I thought of when I saw that mountain, because it was a snow-capped mountain. So I don't know if that's supposed to... Okay, well... Even if you don't know what the mountain is, are you guys under the impression that... How can I put this? Like, if you went outside... If you went into Manhattan and you went up to a top of a tall building and you looked out, like, you would see the city, the city line, you'd see the bridges, you'd see the Statue of Liberty, right? Mm. Like, do you get the feeling that that's what she expected to see? Or she's like, where the fuck are we?
No, she's like, where the fuck are we?
Okay. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's not what she expected to see, because that is not in line with Japan's geography, right?
I'm looking at like a map of Japan, because I know they're...
Can you please sit down?
I know they're in Shibuya, because of Shibuya Crossing. There was a point later where Queena is sitting by a station... And it's called Roppongi Station. And I know Roppongi is the name of a district in Japan. Okay. So I looked it up to see how close they were together. Mm-hmm. They're pretty close. Okay. And I'm trying to, like, see if there's any mountains nearby. Or if, like, it tells me where Mount Fuji is on this map. I don't think.
So...
It's just not even just... Because I know you noticed the one big mountain. But other than that, all the other mountains surrounding it, it's just... You don't...
They're nondescript. They're just like...
There's nothing like that.
Right.
That I know of in the world.
Okay. I don't know. All right. So, episode 6 begins with this montage. They're out there winning. We see a couple of blimps. We see a couple of blimps get burned. So, that means... And we see people, like, high-fiving and stuff. We won. Right. We won. So, there are people who are defeating... these other face cards that are not
without
our group.
Main guys,
right.
Yeah.
Okay,
but then again, we see that sometimes it is, because we saw the tail end of Queena she did some fucking thing where it was like a battle royale. She was in the game. Yeah. Oh my god, do you have to go outside? Because I need you to stop. If you don't.
Probably, yeah.
What were you going to say, Donnie?
What was what were we talking about?
The games.
The games. People winning the games.
Oh, so I don't know if it's something because I watch in subtitled or the English or whatever, but I swear they said there was only 2 face cards left. That they had all been killed.
I didn't catch that.
Too.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, there was a point where they were like, we just got to do this and then the king.
Well, that makes sense because there's only 2 episodes left.
Yeah. But then I was like, okay, then what happened to the shooter? Because the shooter was a Jack, and so it.
And is that his game? Did he just decide that
the
his
shooter is a king, isn't he?
He's a king, the king of spades.
But it wasn't it wasn't who was left.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I don't know.
It was like they were saying, hey, this. Yeah.
So maybe the shooter is. I have no idea. I see what you're saying. So. People are winning their matches against the face cards. We talked about that. Queen is putting in work in whatever match she was in. And we see that Usagi and Arisu end up in the same match with the little boy. And it is against the Queen of Hearts. Spades, right. So they're on this... What the fuck is this? It's like a... What is this? Scaffolding. Like a...
Yeah, like
construction
an oil rig
site,
type of thing.
oil rig. I don't know. And the game is basically like tag. It's like 16 rounds, and
this would be so much
the
fun.
queen. They have these like tag things on them, electronic.
Like laser tag.
Like laser tag, right? Harnesses on, and the button to hit is on the back, and there's the queen and her team of like 4 or 5 people. Against everybody.
Yeah, it was like 3 or 4. She had a very small team.
She had a very small team. And then she's playing against like 15 or 16 other people, including the little boy. And so at the beginning of the game, she's the king on her team, which means she can't be tagged. And she can't transfer teams when she's tagged. She can't be tagged. She can't transfer teams if she's tagged. And the little boy is the king on their team, which means he can't be transferred either, right? So it just definitely means if this team loses, that little boy is going to die. So that for him to live, that team has to win because there's no chance for him to go to the other team. Which her choosing that little boy, it's like fuck you, but okay.
But it's even worse for the people that like as she's tagging people and telling them that hey, if you want to live, stay with me. But they're like fuck. They were like fuck this kid. They didn't care that this little boy was going to die, which kind of fucked with me.
And that's what I mean. Like they were. That's why I'm okay with what happens at the end. How she's able to convince them, because I don't think they were inherently shitty people, but that's like the whole point. Like you come to this place or you're brought to this place and you're forced to participate in these games and make these decisions that you wouldn't normally do, I would hope, in the outside world. And it was so frustrating though, because as I'm watching it and the first round, and let's say she tags like, or her team tags like 5 or 6 people, I'm like, in the next round, they're being chased. I wouldn't be okay with that kid getting killed. I would I'd be like, turn me back. Like, I would try to keep our numbers high.
That's what they originally thought was going to happen. But these people were like, no.
That's when she made the offer. And it was like, but see, the thing is, it's like, she had 3 people with her at the start of the game. Right. So she was telling them, if we win, like, you just live here and you're citizens. And then every time we play, you're on my team.
You don't have to participate in other games.
Right. So, I guess. But, yeah, not at the expense of that little kid. So, it ends up... And then she has a hard-on for Arisu. Why?
Yes.
It seemed like she kind of, like, knew him from before. Like,
I don't even know if it was... Go ahead.
I didn't...
No, I'm sorry. We cut Kaylee off. Go ahead.
I had the impression that she had, like, heard about him. Not necessarily, like, met him before, but she
before
knew
the game.
Of him.
I agree. Because it felt like... who's the... Mita?
Yeah.
From the beach? Yeah.
Shush.
Because, I mean, if you think about it, Arasu has been that motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He has come in clutch. And, like, yeah. And anybody who paid attention to the shit that went on at the beach would know that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming everybody knows what went on at the beach. In terms of face card people behind the scenes. I'm sure they know the role he played. And figuring that out.
It was funny because as it's starting and stuff, Mommy's like, "Why aren't they fighting?" And then she comes out, the Queen of Spades comes out and just starts like beating ass.
Yeah. Oh my God, she was like the Terminator. So, the Usagi ends up. This was so funny because like they're losing. At the end, she's like, and it's just her and Arasu and the little kid, obviously. Yeah. And she corners these three guys. She tags all three of them. She's a beast. She was like, tap, tap, tap. Now you're back on our team. And then these are the ones that she convinces.
Yeah.
Right. And then one guy walks up and he volunteers. He's like, please turn me.
Overheard them.
Yeah. So this leads to their plan where they are holding out Arasu from her, and what does he like jumps on this chain and goes swinging.
Yeah,
right. Like, that's why she wants him.
Because they had told him that she wanted him, so they used him as bait. So they knew she was going to come after him. So he jumped on that chain to jump away, and then once that clock changed, they used all their people to take all the other people.
What is the, can you guys remind me what determines the length of your visa? Is it the number on the card that you played? Okay. So it was the difficulty and the number of your visa, right? Your visa days. Okay. So with the, with the face cards, do you automatically get a 10-day visa?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, they turn the tide and they end up winning, and she swan dives off.
Second person to do it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although he fell after he got shocked. Yeah. She jumped and then got shocked midair.
She said she wanted her last moment to be like free or something.
Yeah.
So she was free falling.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just interesting that because we get to the next one after this that they're just like realizing, hey, I don't want them to kill me. I want to kill myself. Type of like they want to take their own lives rather than
because
whatever's going on, kill them. Because
again, remember, these people, even though they have some measure of authority here, they're all still players. Like none of them came here that we know of voluntarily. So at some point, like the guy in the next game, you got to get to the point where it's like you decide what type of person you want to be and how you live. Like even in this situation, right? You have very little control, but you can still control how you play, right? Like, you don't have to be the type of person to sacrifice a child to win. Like, you have to decide how you want to play and how you die, you know? Mm-hmm. Nico, I need you to stop. You're so needy. Okay. So, when they leave... Oh wait, the kid stays with all these people? So is he the new runner of this place?
I don't know.
No, because maybe he killed the game
master,
person,
the game
okay.
Done.
So he just has a 10-day visa,
and he's just with these people. I could be wrong. I think the girl was there again that he was with before, but I don't know.
And his parents died in a game. Lord Jesus. Okay, so
Arisu holding that shotgun.
It's so awkward. I cannot wait to watch people react to this episode with him with that shotgun, because I just know people are going to be like, why? Okay, so Arisu and Usagi come across the destroyed stadium that we saw Akane's game started in. And it's funny when they get there, she goes, "Did you fart?" It's like, no. There's something down there he wants.
But there's nothing down there.
Oh.
So he's just whining.
So yeah, they end up bathing in these hot springs. They see elephants.
The elephants really threw me off.
The elephants fucked with me because she was not answering. Yeah.
Well, that's what they were smelling. It was the sulfur.
Yeah. And
so that would mean, because sulfur is from volcanoes and stuff, so that would go in line with like the mountain like that futuristic thing where these volcanoes have been going off, and that's where it's created all these mountains around them.
I don't know, though, that that's the only... Like, if you hear sulfur, then you think volcanoes, right? Like, I feel like you can get the smell of sulfur. Like, you get sulfur from... Like, just the fact that they had the fires and explosion in that place itself.
Yeah, I was just thinking that hot springs usually you don't see those unless you're around like mountain.
Well, I think that was her.
Like,
that's what they were calling
volcanoes.
it, but it was just basically like hot water in this area. Yeah. So, yeah, they're kissing, and then they notice the dead body.
They do.
Yeah, Arusu does over her shoulder. I think there's like they're kissing, and then they stop. One of them stops, and it's like, and they look over the shoulder, and you can see there's like a dead person, just their face. Kind of looks like in Attack on Titan when that piece of the wall fell, and you just saw the eye.
Why do I not remember this?
Yeah, and I was like, see? Y'all about to have sex in this nasty ass water with these dead bodies next to you.
So the thing I shared with you earlier, these two, right?
No.
Okay. Was he getting married with them?
She's marrying an actor that she was in a movie with.
Gotcha. Okay.
That was not him, Reese's.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right. So Kuina goes to the hospital. She sees the pic of her mother, and this is the pic of her with her mother, and this is kind of her strengthening her resolve to go home. Anne finds a dead deer and remembers her job. And it was, she was at a crime scene as a police, like, forensic person, and it was like a dead child, I think, like a dead little girl.
I didn't think it was a child.
It was a girl. It was like, but I thought they said something about, like, she's so young and lost her life to the whims of, like, some man or something like that. And it made me feel like it was, but either way, again, this kind of strengthens her resolve to get out. Oh my God, Nico.
I'm going to just put you on the floor.
He's so annoying. Okay, so we get a new game with the King of Diamonds, who is, I did not recognize him, and if they hadn't
I
said
knew
it,
right away.
Yeah.
The guy from
Really? You recognized him right away?
Yeah, because the glasses and everything. Yeah, I said that's the guy from the beach. That was one of the leaders.
Yeah, I did not remember him from the beach.
I thought before they even showed him, Chishiya mentioned who he was.
That's what I'm saying. Like if they hadn't done that, I would not have been like, oh, that's the guy from the beach. Yeah, they had to tell me, or I wouldn't have pieced it together. That's who that was. So yeah, he was the former number 2 at the beach. So the game is Chishiya, the King of Diamonds, and 3 other people sitting around a table, and they have to choose a number. There's different rounds. They pick a number from 1 to 100.
Zero to 100.
0 to 100. Are you sure?
Yes,
Yeah. Because at the end he can pick 0.
I thought okay. Remember when every time somebody got out, they added new rules? I thought that's when 0 was added, but okay. So you choose a number between 1 and 100, and then
0 and 100. You said 1 and 100
Oh, God!
again.
It doesn't matter! Oh, my God!
It does to me!
Y'all
Say
are
it right!
so annoying. 0 to 100. Mm-hmm. And the average of that number is then multiplied by 0.08.
0.8.
0.08.
0.8.
It is 0.08. Donnie, which one is it?
I think it was 0.08.
You could fast forward to it if you want to be froggy. Go ahead.
No, it's fine.
Anyway, it's multiplied by something. And
something less than a 1.
The answer, right, whatever the answer is, the person whose original number was closest to that number gets a point. Everybody else loses a point. And when you get 10 points, acid above your head in a bowl pours down on you, and you die. And then they add
a new rule.
Yes.
Every time someone dies.
They add a new rule to that. So, let me just tell you something about this.
I would have failed.
This was too much.
I was like,
I would have been so dead because that was too much math. And then
even that girl that seemed like really dumb was able to get it. And
she got it real fast. And I was like, when that happened, when she had to, like, I told you this. That's one thing I love about this show is, like, no matter what, if you don't get the rules when the game explains it to you. Characters are going to explain it again because they know the world is stupid. Mm-hmm. So even when they explained it again and she was like clueless, I was like, she's going to die. But then like 2 rounds in, she was like, if I do this, I was like, girl, if you wasn't playing against Chishiya, I would think you'd have a chance. Right? What were you saying, Donnie?
I said that's exactly what they did in Run this morning with...
Oh my god, that's so true. That's so true.
They explained the rules and then they said, RM's going to explain it again.
Yes, in a few minutes. Don't worry about it. Yeah, in parentheses at the bottom. And sure enough, they come back, RM had to explain it. And then there was like rules where, he was so confused and he didn't get it. Then they played a new game and they explained the rules. And Hobie's sitting there, he's like reading the screen like this. And then they just cut and Jimin looks at him, he goes, Hobie don't understand. Just calls him out. So in this game, we learn. So the King of Diamonds, his issue was in real life or whatever, in the real world. He was an attorney, mm-hmm. and I
love how Chishiya figures this out because of the way that the
game is set up.
Mm-hmm. Right, the things look like I don't forget what those things are called.
The scales.
The scales.
Mm-hmm. Scales of justice and all that.
Yeah. Right. That was pretty cool.
And he was like kind of responsible for... See, is this the end or no?
No.
This is before.
This is when he wakes up.
This is when he wakes up. Okay. So, he was responsible, like, basically that thing where it happened with, what's his name too? Chishiya, right? Where the bureaucracy of your job, the bullshit of your job gets in the way and you think that you have this job where you're helping or saving people, but, you know, the world isn't fair and you become responsible for people losing their lives. And in Chishiya's case, he was a doctor.
Did anybody see this coming?
I kind of did, but only because I was a little spoiled. So I wasn't shocked when it happened, but I was still kind of shocked. But then I wasn't shocked because he's so fucking smart.
Yeah, but I thought...
So you knew he had to be something.
So yeah, I
not
thought...
Not doctor.
Why not?
Because he looked too young. Like, I was...
Oh.
Hold on.
Nico, stop. You're so annoying. Go away. Go ahead.
I stopped the episode on the TV. I didn't think he would be a doctor because I thought he was too young. Like, he looked like just a little bit older than Arisu.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, mid-20s, early 20s, kind of ish.
Well, like a resident then. You could be a doctor.
Mm-hmm. But he's, like, in the full get-up.
Yep.
And it looked like he's, like, such a professional at his job. And I'm like, what? But so before we find out that he's a doctor, I was like wondering, maybe he's just like the kind of kid who grew up and who was just always smarter than everyone else. So, like, he's secretly just like a really high IQ, a genius, a prodigy at everything he does. And so I'm like, obviously he's gonna win this game because it's Chishiya.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm like, maybe this is we find out in his past that he was just a really smart and gifted kid. And like,
yeah, he was, but like,
yeah.
I did like how when it got down to the end and they introduced the new rules, which I don't really remember the details of. It's not really important, but basically, what?
Oh
yeah,
episode 2, season 2.
They have the King of Hearts is down between him and Chishiya. Okay, first of all, when those two guys died at the same time and the one guy had to watch the other guy die first,
that was messed up. So there's like no point other than just being cruel.
I was like, y'all could have dumped these bowls at the same fucking time. Why I gotta sit here and know that this is coming for me? And I love how all three of them knew they lost, knew what was up, and every time they try to take that thing off, like they're trying to get up.
I mean, like, what else would you do?
That's true, I guess. So,
I also just want to say how impressed I was that Chishiya didn't care. Like, not
it
once
must
have we
have
seen...
stank, too.
Yeah, I was gonna say it probably smells terribly in there, but, like, I noticed this in season 1, too. When he's, like, whenever he sees someone die, like, a terrible graphic death, he doesn't seem fazed at all.
Yeah, because of his... Now, it makes sense.
Yeah, but
He's probably cut people open and...
I guess. Yeah. You don't see people get acid poured on them every day.
But, I mean, he's also been in this game for a minute, so... You know what I mean?
I'm not complaining. I love it.
So, when it's down to, like, the King of Diamonds, and he basically has Chishiya's life in his hands, right? Because it's like, if you pick... They can only choose between, like, 3 numbers, and if I'm telling you I'm picking this, he's basically giving this guy the chance to determine his Chishiya's fate, right? Whether he deserves, like, to decide who lives or dies. And we see as he's pondering this, as he's taking the L's for himself and not killing Chishiya, that I like the flashbacks to the beach, right? Where we saw the girl who was the witch and why she volunteered. Remember? Because it turned out she was the witch and she did it on purpose. What was interesting was when she said, because it was this whole thing about, like, living by your own ideals, you know? And again, like I said, like, you have such little control here. You can participate. You participate because you have to, but you don't have to participate in the way that
they want.
Yeah. But with the girl at the beach, I thought it was interesting that she said, because I want to prove that it won't turn into a massacre. Like, she had more faith in people, and it totally fucking did. It's like, girl, you died for nothing. And that made me nervous about what he would do. Because it feels like, you know, she's like, I want to, like, the best in people in my ideals or whatever. He lived and he saw that there was no good in people except, like, 4 people. But yeah, he ends up.
And they showed him beating, talking to the lady we know is in charge. Mira.
Yes, that's right. And he said he wants his game to be fair.
Yeah.
But we also see how the Mad Hatter guy, how they kind of touched on it last season, how he got corrupted, right? Because remember before, and you see, like, at the beginning when they got to the beach, where they had this idea that they were going to live one way, remember? And that's why Aguni did what he did towards the end, because he had watched. Remember, it turned out that he killed the Mad Hatter, remember? The Mad Hatter's visa was up and he went on that thing.
And the Mad Hatter's gun was empty.
Yeah. So, but, I mean, it goes to show you how that moment when they got to the beach and he was telling everybody, like, how he wanted it to be, he had an ideal and it didn't live up to that. Remember? You don't know what I'm talking about, do you?
I can't concentrate because Nico's over here nibbling at my finger. I'm trying not to make eye contact with him.
Go sit down. Stop being needy. No. Go away. So yeah, Chishiya lives.
Can we also talk about that scene where he was able to accurately and also somewhat luckily predict what number that girl was going to choose?
Yeah, that's too much.
He was narrowing it down, and he went on this long tangent about how he was able to narrow down the 2 numbers that she would have possibly chosen.
You know what I wondered? Like, the people who the writers on this show, like, you have to be really smart to, like, come up with these games.
And then come up with ways.
And then come with the ways to make it so that your people really get fucked, right? Like, it looks like they're gonna die, but that they could figure it out.
Yeah.
Or prevail. Like, yeah. Because when he was explaining all of that, I was like, I guess.
Yeah, he was right.
And Chishiya was ready to die, too. Like, he was just like...
That's I mean, this is not the first time he's left his fate up to luck.
True.
Whereas Agumi, or who's the main guy?
Arisu.
Like, he's like, we've survived like 1,000 times.
I wonder if this is going to be the type of thing where he dies at the end.
Arisu?
Yeah.
Probably.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know. How does Alice in Wonderland end?
She goes back home, I think. Eventually. Doesn't it sound like because she's like with her sister or some shit? I don't know.
I don't know. I think so, yeah. But I don't know.
Alright, so that's it. That is it. Everybody is resolved. Nico.
He's just biting on my nails, and sometimes he gets too close to my finger.
Everybody is resolved to get home to survive this, and we have 2 more episodes. So I have to ask before we go, predictions. Do you think anybody's going to die? From our main group?
No.
Yes.
That motherfucker's still alive.
Yeah. I feel like we saw him briefly.
Donnie?
Just the
Yeah.
very back of his face.
Yeah.
The back of his head. And that's it.
So who's going to die, Donnie? You said yeah.
I could see the girl with Arisu dying. They're getting too close.
Aguni?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, which girl?
The one he's
Usagi, sorry.
The one he's having the bath with.
Usagi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Rabbit
can see
girl.
her dying.
I feel like she wouldn't die in season 2. If she's gonna die, I feel like it'll be near the end of the series.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what else? Who else? That's it?
Yeah. Because everybody else, yeah.
Okay.
I feel like she won't die at all, though.
I feel like one of the girls has to die, though.
Misogyny.
Pretty much.
Misogyny. What about you? You don't do no one, Kaylee?
I feel like it's too early to tell.
Okay.
I feel like all our main cast so far will make it to season 3. And someone will probably die there.
Okay.
Ow, Nico, stop.
What do you think? What do you guys think is going to happen after they kill all these fucking face cards?
They're gonna have to
They become game makers.
they have to fight
They're not gonna let them leave. They're gonna be like, here, now you get to make a game.
They gotta fight the Joker. The little Joker card. Oh my god, I was watching Core 4 react to one of the second episode, and when they had the game where you had to have someone tell you what was on the back of your
Was this what
thing.
you showed me yesterday?
No, what was it? Oh no.
And it was you were on that episode.
Yes. No, what I showed you was when the bully, the first guy that died in the guy he was bullying lied to him and told him it was like clubs on the back of his thing. And when he walked by the scared kid started to tell him, yes, but the Core 4 guys were like, shut your mouth. But no, when they were trying to say, like, if no one tells you and you have to guess, you have a 25% chance of being correct. So they were like, what are the 4 again? And they were like, hearts, diamonds, clubs. And then they were like, clovers. And I was like, Negroes. I commented, I was like, 3 Negroes on the couch. And not one of y'all said spades. That's our card game. Like, that is the black people card game. What the fuck are you talking about clovers? That's the clubs, ding dongs. How did none of the niggas on the couch say spades? That should have been the first suit. If you ask me about playing cards, the first thing I'm going to say is spades. It's in my blood. So anyway, that is it, you guys. I have no predictions for that, Donnie. Honestly, seriously, I don't know. They're not going home because this show is not being tied up in 2 episodes.
I want to see Mita.
Yes, she needs her ass kicked. She needs to answer some questions and get her ass beat.
No.
What do you mean, no?
No. She's fine.
No, she's not.
She's pretty.
Crazy.
She's pretty.
Oh my god.
I was watching a reaction to the first season again, and like she always like stood the same way with her hands like crossed in front of her, like all polite looking. I was like, she always stand like that. She's cool.
Okay, that's it. We'll talk to you guys next time. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing.